Yo, what's up guys? Yeah, pokeaim here with some Pokemon Sword and Shield news. Now, if you consider updated movesets spoilers for old Pokemon, I'm only going to be talking about old Pokemon for the most part, I believe. I'm not going to be showing any new Pokemon. There's not going to be any pictures in this or anything. Feel free to not watch this video. Otherwise, thank you everybody for all the support on my Pokemon Sword and Shield videos. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe as well. I got a whole lot of stuff coming. Wi-Fi battles, max raids, moveset guides, hopefully a guide to the fundamentals of Pokemon coming out. Maybe not today, later today, but tomorrow, the latest, it can come out. That's the latest. That's the latest I'm giving myself. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this. So originally I was putting together a list of it based on what Kafadix has been posting on Twitter about the data mine of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I stumbled upon this Smogon thread that actually has the changes itself. So we're going to look at it real quick, and I'll be going over everything and just giving my thoughts on it. So before we actually get into the new and the changed move pools, Rapid Spin is now 50 base power, confirmed, and it grants +1 speed when you go for it. Multi attack is 120 base power, so they buffed Silvally. I already talked about Rapid Spin yesterday, which was crazy until we had that, so I'm not going to talk about it, but they buffed Silvally. They made it from the 90 base power multi attack to 120 base power, and that's good because honestly Silvally kind of sucked. Like, it made no sense that it was made to take on Ultra Beast and it couldn't beat any of them, but also the fact that it was made to copy Arceus and it didn't get boosts from the RKS system and whatever it put on memories and stuff. So the fact that it's 120 base power helps out a little bit. Inner Focus prevents stat drop. That's awesome. I really wish they had that in Gen 7 when I was using my Mega Gallade and Landers would just come in and intimidate me. So, but that's still a pretty cool buff to it. It looks like it's just like clear body now. On top of that, obviously, you can't be flinch. And then they talked about Coughing also having neutralizing gas and stench. Neutralizing gas is the ability that we just got for Galarian Wheezing, which stops ability, basically just neutralizes abilities for when it's out on the field. Now to talk about some of the new and changed movesets, and there's a lot of them, so I'll be going over them, but some of them are going to be doing a lot faster than others, and some of them don't really matter in my opinion. But the first one, Venusaur now has access to Weather Ball. Now Venusaur already had access to Weather Ball before, and this was a black and white event if I'm not mistaken, but it didn't have access to Weather Ball plus Chlorophyll, which would be the main reason to use Weather Ball on Venusaur, right? You use Chlorophyll to double your speed in the sun, and then you'd use the sun boosted Weather Ball to hit things, and that's the reason why Venusaur actually ended up running Hidden Power Fire on most of its sunsets. It has Earth Power now, which is incredible. That would have been once again great in Generation 7 when Heatran was alive, but who knows? I feel like Diamond and Pearl remakes are what's coming out next year, especially with the lack of Gen 4 stuff in this game. So that's going to be amazing for Venusaur having Earth Power to hit Steel types. That way it doesn't have to rely on, first off, there's no more Hidden Power in the game, so it doesn't have to rely on that, or it doesn't have to suck because of that. And it had Earthquake, so it might as well got an Earth Power. It also has Helping Hand and False Swipe. False Swipe doesn't really matter too much, except for the channel. Love False Swipe giving. But Helping Hand can be cool in doubles to give it better support. And we'll just go up to Charizard. We can skip Charmander and Charmeleon, it's the same thing. But Charizard now has access to Mystical Fire, which is interesting on like a supportive type of Charizard. One thing that I was recently using in the NU tier was Physically Defensive Charizard, and I had Fire Blast over Mystical Fire because obviously it didn't exist in Gen 7. So that's interesting for like a more supportive set. Hurricane as well. Nothing like good flying stab. I'm actually pretty excited about this because I wasn't sure how good Charizard would be, even with the heavy duty boots preventing it from hopefully taking Stealth Rock damage. Like it's still not confirmed. We have to test it, but Hurricane is really nice. A stab. Heat Crash is based on weight. Acrobatics was event only, and it also got Weather Ball. And I think Weather Ball is also pretty cool. Charizard versus Rain teams could be pretty fun as well. Or even just teams in general. The fact that Weather Ball is going to be, you know, either rock, water, fire-based, ice-based, I think is super cool for Charizard. Ice-based in particular, like a Charizard like on Hail teams could be pretty fun because Dragon types are things that come to mind that would come in on Charizard always. And I think a Hail team wouldn't have a Pokemon like, for example, Tyranitar. Maybe not. But yeah, I like that. The Squirtle Blastoise War Turtle line gets Shell Smash. It's about damn time. I'm gonna be honest. it's about damn time that this Pokemon gets Shell Smash. Come on. It literally had, in the Mewtwo movie, it literally had a nickname called Shell Shocker. Come on. Shell Smash is about time. It's actually pretty crazy that it gets it now. If it had gotten it in Gen 7, Mega Blastoise would have been broken. Because not only would it have Shell Smash, but incredible stats, an incredible move pool, and an incredible ability. Life Dew is a new move. I believe it recovers you. We're not entirely sure on the percentage just yet, but recovery for Blastoise is always nice. Butterfree gets Pollen Puff, which is basically like Bug Buzz, and also can heal your partners, and also gets Hurricane. Hurricane is really nice, pretty cool. I think they did that because obviously Gigantamax Butterfree is in the game. So it gives Butterfree a nice little boost, especially because it already has Quiver Dance. So great, now it doesn't have to use Air Slash. So that's really nice with the Hurricane, especially with its abilities. Pikachu and Pichu get Reversal and Surf, which I believe previously were just event moves. So that's nice, you don't have to worry about that. I don't know if Light Ball's in the game, I would have to check, but at least for Pikachu, if Light Ball is in the game, which it should be, it's always in the game. Except for in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but they have broken Pikachu in that game. So that's really nice, being able to touch ground types and whatnot, rock types. Raichu and Alolan Raichu, well, Raichu gets Speed Swap, which can have some use in VGC. Maybe use that next to, like, I don't know, like a Belly Drum, Snorlax, and use Speed Swap in it. That way it gets Raichu speed, so that could be pretty cool. And Alolan Raichu also gets Reversal and Surf as well. Clefairy and Clefable get Mystical Fire and Baton Pass. I also didn't mention Baton Pass from Butterfree, but in standard play, so Smogon singles is what I be playing. Of course, I'll be playing Battle Spot as well as VGC, just for fun. But Baton Pass doesn't matter as much, but that's pretty nasty on Clefable, considering it's going to probably be really easy for Clefable to click Calm Mind in this generation. It always is, or even like Baton Pass and Cosmic Powers. But Mystical Fire is pretty cool too, because it doesn't necessarily need Flamethrower, it doesn't necessarily need Fire Blast, which it does have. But being able to lower the special attack is something trying to beat you, especially as your combat boosting is nasty. Ninetales and Vulpix get access to Mystical Fire, Encore, and Stored Power. And Vulpix also gets access to Memento, which means that Ninetales get access to Memento. You just evolve, obviously, and have it. So that can be pretty cool as a support mon, especially on Sun teams, because it does have access to Drought with its hidden ability, and obviously that gives Chlorophyll to all the Sun mons. Then maybe you can go for Memento and then pass that into like Growth Venusaur or something like that. So that can be pretty nasty. Mystical Fire is good because Ninetales isn't a mon that's typically boosting, unless it was in Generation 7 RU, where it was going for like Nasty Plot into Z-Move, Inferno Overdrive, but it doesn't have that anymore. So that's pretty cool for a support mon. I like that it has Encore in this one. I know that Alolan Ninetales got Encore. I wasn't sure if regular Ninetales got it. Store Power is interesting too, considering it does have access to Nasty Plot and Calm Mind. Don't know how often it will be ran though, because offensive Ninetales doesn't really exist. Alolan Ninetales, Moonblast. Alolan Vulpix gets Moonblast. Alolan Ninetales gets Store Power and Draining Kiss. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but Store Power is basically the same thing. I think Alolan Ninetales is just going to be ran for Veil anyway. Arcanine gets Psychic Fangs and Play Rough. It got Play Rough and Let's Go before, so now it gets in this, which is pretty cool. An alternative to hitting Dragon types, besides having to go for Hidden Power Ice, which doesn't exist in this game, or Dragon Pulse. Psychic Fangs, another cool one. I think like a bulky Arcanine, or even just an offensive one, and Intimidate with Psychic Fangs could be pretty cool, giving you a way of touching Toxapex without having to use Wild Charge and losing your HP. Oddish gets Leech Seed as an egg move, and before it was an event, so that's cool. Vileplume gets access to Sludge Wave and Pollen Puff. I don't think Pollen Puff matters too much. Bug coverage isn't typically the best on a Pokemon that doesn't have Stab for it, that isn't getting like boost for it. But Sludge Wave, really nice, better than Sludge Bomb. Obviously, use that with Leech Seed. Strength Slap's going to be annoying. Coughing, Wheezing, Galarian Wheezing gets Sludge Wave, previously only from Black and White. So nice, we don't have to worry about transferring from an event. Ponyta gets Mystical Fire, which again is really good on a support Ponyta, especially a defensive one, and maybe the Little Cup tier that used to basically would run something like Will-O-Wisp, Morning Sun, Flare Blitz / Flamethrower, and whatever other move it wanted, and be like a support mon. Flame Charge was also an option, but having access to that is pretty cool too. And Rapidash gets Swords Dance, and I like that Rapidash gets Swords Dance because Rapidash has a good move pool. Low Kick, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, High Horsepower, Drill Run, whatever. Mega Horn, I don't think I'd added that. So that's pretty cool for that, being able to abuse that. And obviously, likewise, Galarian, Rapidash gets Swords Dance too, as well as Galarian Ponyta. Gengar, as I I said yesterday before we actually got confirmed movesets, but when I saw that the NASA plot was a technical record, I put that I hope that Gengar got it, and what do you know? Gengar actually has access to Nasty Plot, and this is going to be huge, especially with the confirmation that there are, especially with the confirmation that there is no pursuit in the game. So that's going to make Gengar a giant threat and a wall breaker. It has Sludge Wave as well, which was previously in Event 2, and Encore I think is pretty cool as a little toy. Cloyster gets Pin Missile, not really necessary on Shell Smash sets. You want to use Rock Blast and Icicle Spear for the most part. Ice Shard, Hydro Pump, Liquidation. So I don't think it's that great on Cloyster. Duckshow gets Ally Switch, some VGC stuff going on there. Machoke, Machop, and Machamp get Reversal, and Machamp also gets Darkest Lariat. Now, I believe Machamp does have knockoff in the game as well, so it's not really that necessary, but still pretty cool considering it was Incineroar's signature move and now it's a technical record. Shellder and Cloyster also get access to Life Dew, and again, I'm pretty sure Life Dew is like a healing move of sorts. I'm not sure how it works exactly. But Rhydon gets Heat Crash, and Rhyperior, that second one got me dying. Rhyperior gets Heat Crash and Hydro Pump. So Rhyperior already got like Fire Blast, which is special, but could still be used because for the most part you were Fire Blasting 4 times effective mons like Ferrothorn, but also has Fire Punch, obviously. So on the physical side, it was better versus Ferrothorn. It's straight that Fire Blast was used versus like a Skarmory back in the day. But Hydro Pump is interesting. Not really necessary, but I mean, I guess it makes sense with Rhyperior considering it already has Surf. Yeah, I remember surfing Rhydon from back in the day. Don't think these two really make a huge difference for Rhyperior, but maybe if you want to use your Rhyperior to counter another Rhyperior and you put Life Orb Hydro Pump on it, could be fun. Kingler has access to Hydro Pump. Doesn't really matter because Kingler is a physical attacker. Brutal Swing. Kingler has access to Knockoff, so that doesn't really matter. Hammer Arm. That's a pretty cool one. You don't have to use Superpower if you don't want to lower your attack stat, whereas Hammer Arm would just lower your speed. Kingler isn't that fast anyway, but has a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful attack stat, so it's something it can use. High Horsepower. I think with the combination of Liquidation and potentially Superpower, X-Scissor, and Rock Slide, you don't really need high horsepower coverage. And then Razor Shell, but that's just worse than Liquidation. Goldeen and Seaking get Acupressure and Swords Dance. Swords Dance is pretty cool. Seaking is pretty lackluster of a Pokemon, I would say. So the fact that it gets Swords Dance, I like that. Boosting, obviously, its physical attack and being able to use something like Waterfall, Megahorn, Knockoff, Facade, respectively. Farfetch gets Close Combat, kind of expected considering it's, Galarian in this. Well, Galarian Farfetch, excuse me, gets Close Combat as well. Solar Blade, I don't think Solar Blade matters too much. I had Leaf Blade before, but Close Combat, awesome. Galarian Farfetch is much like, I believe, Galarian Surfetch in Fighting type. Okay, this is a pretty interesting one. Onix gets Dragon Dance. Yeah, why? Yo, I mean, I'm with it. Onix is a Pokemon that is a Little Cup beast, right? It's a Little Cup beast. So, in terms of like, it sets up Stealth Rock, it booms, and things like that. So the fact that Onix gets Dragon Dance, I think, is really, really funny. Another cool thing is it gets Head Smash, and Onix also has access to the Rockhead ability. If you guys didn't know, Rockhead prevents you from taking recoil damage from moves that do recoil. So that's amazing. Onix now has an incredible stab, and even though Onix only has 45 base power, you buff that with the combination of Dragon Dance and and a strong stab and Head Smash might actually be a legitimate threat. Durant doesn't matter too much because it has Earthquake. Body Press is a move. It's a new move that does attacks based on your defensive stats, so that could be pretty cool for Onix. It's a fighting type attack, if I'm not mistaken. Steelix also obviously gets Dragon Dance because it evolves from Onix. Head Smash and Psychic Fangs. Head Smash doesn't matter too much for Steelix because it's not stab, but Psychic Fangs could be interesting, all things considered. Being able to hit like fighting types, so I think for the most part you might heavy slam them. Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan get Aura Sphere. That doesn't really matter. They're both physical attackers anyway. Still cool that they're distributing Aura Sphere more. I felt like it was something that should have been distributed since Gen 4, considering all these Mons have to rely on Focus Blast, and y'all know how much Focus Blast misses. Mr. Mime gets Mystical Fire. Didn't know it didn't get that already, but that's awesome for coverage. Mime Jr. gets Dazzling Gleam. But Mr. Mime getting Mystical Fire is interesting, especially because hidden powers are gone. So having a way of dealing with Ferrothorn, but also having the natural stab of Psychic and Fairy to deal with Toxapex and Tyranitar. Might see Mr. Mime usage. All evolutions get Weather Ball and Copycat. Good. Weather Ball, one in particular, especially because I think that's Weather teams are going to be huge in here, and they kind of make up for the lack of hidden power. Jolteon can run Weather Ball and Hail for a Weather Ball of Ice, and Sun for a Weather Ball of Fire. That could be pretty cool. Vaporeon gets Liquidation. Doesn't matter too much. Vaporeon is a special attacker. Flareon gets Mystical Fire. Same thing. Flareon's a physical attacker though, but Mystical Fire could be cool on like a Wish Protect set. I don't know if it still has access to that though. But that's something that comes to mind. Leafeon gets Solar Blade. If you're using Leafeon on Sun teams, that can work. But otherwise, maybe Leaf Blade is just better. Glaceon gets Freeze Dry. Good. It's about time it has a way of touching water types, man. All it had was Blizzard, Ice Beam, and that was it. It's all its movable had. Shadow Ball and Hidden Power. Hidden Power don't even exist. Magikarp gets Hydro Pump, which was previously an event. This is a big one. Magikarp getting Hydro Pump don't matter. I mean, the big one is the one coming after. My bad. I didn't mean to build that up like Magikarp getting Hydro Pump was crazy. Gyarados getting Power Whip. Now, that's crazy because I talked about in my top 14 Pokemon returning to Sword and Shield that Gyarados could be a threat, but it's going to be tough because Pokemon like Rotom are going to exist. They just gave it Power Whip. So Dragon Dance Gyarados with Power Whip sounds kind of nasty, man. I feel like Dragon Dance, Life Orb, Earthquake, Waterfall, and Power Whip is going to be great. This allows us to not only deal with Rotom, but other bulky waters as well, like Seismitoad, for instance, and Vaporeon and things like that. So that's awesome for Gyarados. It still can't really touch Ferrothorn, but you can still run Fire Blast on it, like on a mixed set too, which is pretty cool. So I like that. Lapras gets Liquidation, good. Strong physical water move. Helping Hand, cool on support. Sparkling, the Primarina move. Weather Ball and Life Dew. And again, I think Life Dew is healing. I'm gonna ask in really quickly. Is Life Dew healing, and how much does it heal? Just asking, because I've looked it up. I couldn't get a straight answer. But I like the fact that it gets Weather Ball as well. Though I don't know how common it'll be, but I think that anything with Weather Ball has a niche, potentially other weather teams outside of it's what it could be. Snorlax, having some fun over here, gets Darkest Lariat. I don't know if you guys ever seen the animation for Darkest Lariat in Sun and Moon, but it's Incineroar spinning at your opponent. So imagine just Snorlax just doing that. That sounds fun. That's cool for coverage as well, dark coverage. Heat Crash, I mean, it had Fire Punch before. Hydro Pump, had Surf, and it didn't really use it. Encore, which could be interesting for opposing Curse-Lax Wars. And then Hammer Arm is really nice. So they just buffed its move pool, but I don't think most of the moves are necessary. Maybe Darkest Lariat could be ran. Maybe a Hammer Arm set on a Choice Band set could be cool too. Mewtwo, yo, they gave Mewtwo too much. Mewtwo has access to Nasty Plot, and that's insane for Mewtwo. It's already a good Pokemon. It's already super fast. It's going to be the fastest Uber, if I'm not mistaken, or around there. I haven't looked at the Zacian and Zamazenta stats too in depth, but Mewtwo's going to be one of the fastest Ubers. The fact that it can boost itself and already has a great move pool and literally coverage everywhere is insane. Psychic, Fire, Fighting, Ice, Electric, it doesn't really matter. Store Power also looks pretty nasty with that too, as well as Calm Mind sets. Ancient Power doesn't matter too much. Ho-Oh's not in the tier. And then Speed Swap, I don't know, unless you're doing like some doubles with Mewtwo. I don't think it's going to matter as much unless the new VGC, not this year, but one after, has Ubers as well. So that's not going to matter too much. And Mew gets everything. I think big things that come to mind are apparently Mew gets Spikes and Toxic Spikes. That's insane. That's insane. Like Mew actually getting... Yeah, Mew actually getting the Toxic Spikes and Spikes. I know that Spikes are confirmed. Oh no, I know that Toxic Spikes are confirmed because they're a TM. Spikes is something that was just running around. So if that's actually true, I mean, I'll open up this Google Doc real quick on the side. But if that's actually true, it's just, I don't know. That's insane in my opinion. Mew's already a good Pokemon, and the fact that it can be a fast hazard setter as well, crazy. And it's a balance breaker too, man. It can use Nasty Plot plus moves. Hoo-Hoo and Noctowl get Moonblast, Calm Mind, and Nasty Plot. About damn time Noctowl gets Calm Mind. It should have been had it, man. It already had a cool move pool with Tinted Lens, with Hurricane, and Heat Wave, so I'm glad it got that. Quagsire gets Hydro Pump and Liquidation. In terms of Quagsire's viability, it typically doesn't run those offensive moves. It would run Scald, Recover, Toxic, and whatever last move it wants, depending on what it's doing, because typically it's an unaware stopper, so it stops your opponent from... It's supposed to stop sweepers and stuff like that, but it's still pretty cool. Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss get Mystical Fire and Ally Switch. A Mystical Fire maybe on a support one could be pretty cool, like a Togetic in doubles, or Togekiss. Otherwise, I just run Flamethrower or Fire Blast for the damage. Ally Switch is nice for obviously doubles. I don't know if nice is a term. I know there's a lot of people that complain about Ally Switch itself. But Zato has access to Cosmic Power, and it already had Stored Power before, so Cosmic Power, Stored Power, Roost set could be very scary, especially with Magic Bounce not being able to status stat. Corsola gets access to Hydro Pump. That could be cool. I'm not going to explain why, because I'm not trying to show... I'm not trying to show too much about Corsola, but Blossom gets access to Baton Pass. It did already have Quiver Dance as well, so if you're playing in a metagame where Baton Pass is legal, that's awesome. You can Quiver Dance past that. Octillery gets Liquidation. Okay. I mean, I'd rather use Hydro Pump or Scald with its amazing moveset anyway, but it is an option. Qwilfish gets access to Reversal. I don't think that matters too much. Qwilfish is typically going to be seen as a Swords Dance sweeper on rain teams, as a Spike setter, or an anti-lead with Destiny Bond and stuff like that. So I don't think that matters too much for Qwilfish. Sudowoodo gets Body Press. It just got a nice little fighting type move right there. Shuckle gets Reversal. I gotta look at that, because like obviously Shuckle has max defensive stats, and that's like, it doesn't really matter much for moves like, it doesn't really matter much for Shuckle, because even though it has access to Shell Smash and Contrary and things like that, it doesn't matter too much for Shuckle. But if Shuckle also gets access to Body Press, which does damage based on, well, not Body Press, does it? Yeah, the one that does damage based on defense, yeah. That could be crazy for Shuckle. Reversal though doesn't matter too much. Delibird gets access to Baton Pass. I don't think that matters at all. Honestly, Delibird, you ain't passing with your Delibird anyway, bro. You're using Delibird, that mom probably gonna die after it sets up a spike. Wobbuffet gets access to Amnesia. I don't know why they gave the Miracle Encore Countermon Amnesia. Don't know how I feel about that. Had they gave it Recovery though, would have been crazy. Apparently Life Dew is only 25%, but it also heals each person in doubles as well. So I wonder if it's only 25% when you're doing it in doubles, or the same thing in singles. Otherwise, it might not make that huge of a difference. Manzine gets Hurricane. Cool. Potential Rain Sweeper as well. Does have access to Swift. Something that helps it better check Pokemon like Keldeo. Tyranitar gets Heavy Slam, High Horsepower, Muddy Water, Body Press, and Hydro Pump. Why did it get Muddy Water and Hydro Pump? I mean, it already had Surf in its arsenal, so that's cool that it gets Muddy Water. Imagine you see a Tyranitar on VGC using Muddy Water instead of like a Kingdra. I think that'd be pretty funny. Body Press could be cool. High Horsepower, and maybe in VGC, not so much though. I typically use like a Dragon Dance Weakness Policy set with Rock Slide Crunch. Heavy Slam is interesting too on Choice Band sets though. I like that. And Celebi gets access to Solar Blade and Pollen Puff, which again don't matter too much. Solar Blade you're only going to be using in Sun, which Celebi won't be doing much. Pollen Puff doesn't matter unless it's Stab, but Aura Sphere is really, really cool. Especially with the lack of hidden power in this game. Now Celebi has a way of dealing with Ferrothorn in terms of super effective damage and also Steel types. So I really like that, because we don't know if it gets Earth Power in this game. Zigzagoon gets Tail Slap, which is previously like Ambipom Cinccino's type move, but on Ziggy, don't know too much how it matters. Nuzleaf and Shiftry get Solar Blade. Again, you'll probably be using Leaf Blade much, but if you're using it on a Sun team, that could be cool. Gardevoir gets Mystical Fire. I like that a lot. The ability, again, I talked about it with Mr. Mime, but the ability to actually break through cores of Ferrothorn, Toxapex, and Tyranitar with just your stabs and moveset alone is amazing. Sableye gets access to Encore. It had already Prankster, so that's a really nice little niche prankster move that Sableye can run. Like if you bring it in on a Dragon Dance Mon, you go for Encore, they go for Dragon Dance again, and after that you go for Foul Play, which is based on their attack. Torkoal gets access to Ancient Power and Heat Crash. I mean, I'd rather use a special attacking one with Lava Plume. Flygon gets Throat Chop and First Impression. I think First Impression is really, really cool on this Mon. I don't know how much Throat Chop's going to matter, but it does give it a way of touching like Psychic types in the air and stuff. Assuming Bronze on these game, I didn't remember if I checked. But First Impression, always a fun move, and being priority and whatnot can check faster Psychic types. For the most part, though, it might not benefit Flygon because Flygon's going to be stopped by Fairy types, and First Impression is obviously resisted. Ninjask gets Acrobatics and Air Slash. Air Slash doesn't matter. Acrobatics could be cool on offensive sets with Swords Dance. That's already 110 base power, and it has Speed Boost already going for it. Shedinja gets Hex. Interesting. Hex is doubled in power when you're status, so I don't think it matters too much for Shedinja, But maybe if you use like a Focus Sash or a Heavy Duty Boots type of set, and your goal is to get up T-Spike and do damage with that. Like Shedinja has 30 base special attack, which is why I don't think it matters too much. But it does give you a way of using Shedinja, and you don't have to worry about touching your opponent with like Iron Barbs or Rough Skin or anything. Whiscash gets Liquidation, it just made Dragon Dance a little bit better. Cardon gets Close Combat and Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump doesn't matter too much unless you're using like a special set with adaptability, but Close Combat's cool. It doesn't have to use Sewer Power anymore and lower its attack and defense. Now it can just lower its defenses, and that's pretty cool on a Dragon Dance set, Swords Dance set, or even Bandit. Snorunt gets Icicle Crash, which means that Glalie gets Icicle Crash, which is awesome. Which would have been pretty cool for Mega Glalie, I guess, but it also used Refrigerate Return and stuff, so that doesn't matter. Claydol gets access to Nasty Plot, and that might be the thing that Claydol needs that makes it not completely suck. But it did have Calm Mind, it didn't really do much anyway, and Claydol doesn't have the best stats to really abuse it. Solrock gets Swords Dance, Psychic Terrain, and Weather Ball. Swords Dance is interesting. An offensive Swords Dance, and likewise Lunatone gets Nasty Plot instead of Swords Dance and Psychic Terrain. I'm actually liking Lunatone's a little bit more, Nasty Plot, better than that. Because it has better moves to abuse it, I feel. Like Power Gem, Psychic, Ice Beam, that has a good, decent move pool, so it'll be interesting for raising Lunatone's viability in what is probably going to be the lowest tier, like ZU or something, when it exists. Jirachi has Encore, amazing on support sets. Aura Sphere, pretty cool as well. If Heat Red had been in the tier, that'd be pretty cool. But a special way of dealing with steel types. Life Dew, which, like I said, I don't know if it's 25% or 50%, so it's I'd rather have Wish, if Wish is even still available, and Baton Pass. Baton Pass, if you go for like Ancient Power and get them boosts all around, and it's saying you're playing in a metagame where Baton Pass is allowed, awesome. Shellos gets Ancient Power, Gastrodon gets Hydro Pump, and like an offensive Gastrodon in Rain and VGC, that could be cool. I don't, other water moves are ran. Ancient Power, not too much. Cherubi gets Pollen Puff, again, Pollen Puff doesn't matter as well. Cherim kind of sucks as a Pokemon, so I don't think like any of this matters, but Pollen Puff might be cool for supporting your teammates if you're using a VGC on Sun or something. Play rough is interesting. Vespiquen, I like this a lot, but Vespiquen gets access to Aromatherapy, so Vespiquen is now a cleric for the team, and Toxic Spikes. So Vespiquen not only can be a cleric for the team, but also can set up T-Spikes, and that's such a cool buff for Vespiquen, such a cool mon. It has Pressure as well, you guys already knew about its abilities, so I think that's really nice. Toxicroak and Kroga get Baton Pass and Encore. I feel like I got Encore before. Maybe I'm wrong. But BP can be cool with Swords Dance or Nasty Plot passing. Drapion gets Bug Buzz. That does not matter one bit. That is a physical attacker, sir. Swords Dance and Knock Off and Earthquake and Poison Jab, respectively. Lucario getting Life Dew, I don't think it matters as much. Maybe in doubles you might see it. Stunky getting Tail Slap, whatever. Skuntank getting Tail Slap and Nasty Plot, though. Nasty Plot can be cool with Dark Pulse sets and whatnot, abusing that. So I like that. Drifloon gets Trim Slap, and Drifloon have such a huge HP stat, so this could be interesting with like sub-unburdened sets, and with like Will-O-Wisp and anything could be very annoying. And there is Bronzong and Bronzong, awesome, so that could be cool for Flygon having that Throat Chop. But Speed Swap, so they can swap with faster Pokemon. This might be interesting. Maybe we'll see something like a Bronzong teching Seed Swap and going for it versus like a super fast Pokemon. Let's say, we'll bring the Raichu example. Let's say your opponent has a Raichu and you go for Speed Swap. Now you have Raichu Speed, and then you have offensive Bronzong instead of going for Trick Room. Abomasnow gets Earth Power, which is something it should have gotten a million years ago, man. Being able to deal, I mean, it has Earthquake before, but Earth Power is still cool too, running special sets on that. So had Heatran been alive, that would have been cool, but a way of hitting Steel types. Aurora Veil, which is awesome because now we have another Aurora Veil setter that actually sets up the hail. Previously, I believe we had Ninetales. And Leaf Storm. Nice stat move, so you don't have to use like Woodhammer, you can use Leaf Storm, and that's great and offensive. Rotom gets Nasty Plot. This is something I talked about in the video the other day as something I hoped. But Rotom getting Nasty Plot is amazing because not only does it help Rotom make it even stronger because Ghost and Electric Stab isn't even that bad, but I believe this also gives Nasty Plot to all the Rotom forms. So now you might be seeing Nasty Plot Rotom Wash, Nasty Plot Rotom Heat, Nasty Plot Rotom Mow, Rotom Cut. Rotom Cut doesn't matter. Oh, no, Rotom, yeah, Rotom Fan doesn't matter. Rotom Mow and Rotom Cut are pretty sure the same thing. But, yeah, a Nasty Plot offensive Rotom being an option is amazing. Weavile gets Psycho Cut, so I guess it doesn't get Close Combat. Don't think Psycho Cut matters as much unless you're using a Swords and Psycho Cut set to deal with Toxic Legs. Leafeon, I already talked about Solar Blade, that doesn't matter. Dusknoir gets Darkest Lariat, interesting. I wish they gave it better Ghost Stab than Shadow Punch and stuff like that, but, or even like the Phantom Force, which is still bad because 2 turn moves would suck. And Gallade gets Solar Blade, Reverso, Air Slash, and Aura Sphere. Air Slash, Aura Sphere don't matter because it's a physical attacker. Solar Blade doesn't matter too much because it gets Leaf Blade. Reversal maybe can be cool with like Reversal Salic Berry sets, but I feel like Hitmonlee can do that better. Lucario lost Follow Me. Thank you for adding that. And Pheasant got Brave Bird, Hurricane, and Focus Energy. So finally, it has... that already had Focus Energy. But Pheasant finally has good Flying Stab, right? Before it relied on Pluck. So it has both Hurricane and Brave Bird. Brave Bird being the better one because it has a better attack stat. Did not get Close Combat, though. Such a shame, man. Missed out. Could have been the new Star Raptor, quote-unquote. Portaloin and Liepard get Baton Pass. Muna and Musharna get Moonblast, which is way better for Combine sets that rely on, like before it was like either T-Spikes or was it Dazzling Gleam to do damage. So Moonblast is just stronger and better. Woobat gets Speed Swap, but Swoobat gets Nasty Plot. And Nasty Plot's simple, you get an even higher boost. Insane. Baton Pass could be cool as well with that. Psychic Fangs doesn't matter too much. Speed Swap, it has a high speed tier, so it could be cool. Seismitoad gets Liquidation and Power Whip. A physical Seismitoad on rain teams now seems like a legitimate threat. It seems like a legitimate threat. So under rain, right, with Swift Swim. So that seems pretty cool. And Power Up as well to hit other Pokemon. I like that. I like that. Now this is really weird, but Conkeldurr, the Conkeldurr line gets Defog. I don't know if it uses the cement to wipe away the fog. How the hell did they get Defog on this Conkeldurr line? What was the thought process behind that? But it's still pretty cool. Still pretty cool nonetheless. And Close Combat as well. So that's nice offensive stab. Ooh, imagine a Guts Close Combat from Conkeldurr coming out. Sigilyph gets Speed Swap. Darmanitan gets Mystical Fire. Ooh, don't wanna spoil that too much. Darmanitan gets Mystical Fire, Reversal, and Endure. I'll make sure like I cover over certain things that I think are spoils. Scrafty gets Close Combat, which is something I mentioned. Reuniclus gets Encore and Hammer Arm. Encore might be cool for annoying opposing Reuniclus Wars. Gothitelle gets Fake Out and Nasty Plot. Nasty Plot with Shadow Tag seems pretty cool, assuming Shadow Tag is back. The Ice Cream Cone, Vanillite, gets Aurora Veil, and that's another Hail Setter, which is for the Ice Cream, obviously Vanillix, that gets the Icicle Crash. Oh, excuse me, that gets the Aurora Veil. So that's awesome. So another Hail Setter that can set up Aurora Veil. So we're getting more options for offensive teams. Beartic gets Liquidation. Previously it used like Swords Dance Aqua Jet, so Liquidation is nice. Basculin gets Psychic Fangs, Hydro Pump, Reversal, and Endure. Psychic Fangs I think is the only cool one on that. I don't think Hydro Pump matters too much. Crustle gets Heavy Slam and Body Press. That might be interesting with Shell Smash sets. Furlish gets Strength Sap, which means that Jellicent gets a Strength Sap, and that seems very annoying on a Pokemon that can Will-O-Wisp you and already had Recovery and Recover to deal with. So that'd be pretty cool. Like you Will-O-Wisp a Tyranitar, and they try and still crunch you, does a good chunk, and then you Strength Sap it all back. Escavalier gets Close Combat, Razor Shell, and Encore, and I love it. I love it. Forget Encore, but Close Combat and Razor Shell on offensive ways, they just gave it a way of dealing with Pokemon it's struggling with. Steel types before he previously had Drill Run, and Fire types, and you know, you gave it 2 ways of dealing with that. Haxorus gets Close Combat, which is amazing on Dragon Dance sets. I mean, last time all I had was Superpower, and I don't know if y'all remember the famous line, I raise my attack just to lower my attack, after a Dragon Dance is up. If I remember that Hito Fito at CDC and us. But, Close Combat is amazing on both Swords Dance and Dragon Dance sets. It gets First Impression, which is interesting. Maybe on a Bandit set that'd be cool. Crunch and Psycho Cut. So, a bunch of cool moves added to Haxorus. Golurk gets Close Combat as well. Darkest Lariat and Heat Crash. Close Combat, again, is the coolest one as well. If you don't want to use like a No Guard Dynamic Punch type of thing. A Selgor gets access to Drain Punch and Reversal and Endure. Don't think any of those really matter too much. Behemoth gets Stored Power, Agility, and Endure. Stored Power Combine Trick Room sets could be annoying. Ferrothorn gets Body Press. Maybe it could be cool. Way of dealing like fighting type damage. Klinklang gets Assurance. I don't think that matters too much of its arsenal. If they want anything, they want an Earthquake or Close Combat to help Klinklang. Joltik and Galvantula gets Speed Swap. Again, that's a VGC type of thing. Chandelure gets Mystical Fire, so a sub Mystical Fire set could be very annoying with this Pokemon. Being able to deal with the being able to just be annoying, right? And you don't even have to calm mind up to stop your opponent from breaking your subs. Braviary gets access to Close Combat. Nice. Doesn't have to use Superpower anymore, so that's definitely a plus for Braviary. And Hurricane. I don't think Hurricane matters too much because it's a physical attacker, but awesome. Durant. And this is pretty cool. Durant gets access to First Impression. Durant gets access to First Impression. And I very much like the fact that it gets that because a Hustle, Choice Band, Durant. Imagine setting up and just going for First Impression and then switching. Beautiful. Metal Burst could be fun for like fun little videos, but I don't think it'd be cool anyway. Flail, I don't think it'd be that great. I don't think Beat Up is that great anyway. Hydreigon, the mono I'm talking about, the mono I was hoping got Nasty Plot and Dragon Dance, did end up getting both. So Hydreigon is going to be a huge, huge threat in this metagame with both Nasty Plot and Dragon Dance. Also gets Hydro Pump, which is pretty cool. Virizion getting Mega Horn, Air Slash, Smart Strike, and Solar Blade. Maybe Mega Horn for opposing grass types, but for the most part, you're going to go for like Swords Dance Close Combat. If anything, Air Slash could be interesting for the opposing Virizion war. They also spell Virizion wrong. It's not Virizion. Cobalion, it doesn't matter though. I know what they meant. Cobalion also, and same thing with Terrakion, it's the same thing. Smart Strike is worse than Iron Head, so not the best. And maybe Terrakion using Mega Horn now that Celebi's in the tier instead of using X Scissor, because the defensive Celebi might be able to live an X Scissor, but probably not a Mega Horn coming from Terrakion. Zekrom and Reshiram both get Dragon Dance. Amazing, especially for Zekrom in a tier where Primal Groudon and regular Groudon do not exist. So Dragon Dancing Zekrom sounds very scary with Bullet Strike and Outrage in the Ubers tier. And Reshiram gets access to that and Flare Blitz, so gets great physical Fire Stab, Mystical Fire, which is cool on like a supportive Toxic set, I think, and then Heat Crash. And Kyurem also gets Dragon Dance. That means Kyurem Black gets Dragon Dance. And Icicle Spear, by the way. So we just gave Kyurem Black a decent physical stab move, an Icicle Spear, and they gave it access to Dragon Dance. Crazy. Freeze Dry, also pretty interesting for Kyurem. I like that a lot. Keldeo gets access to Reversal, Endure, Smart Strike, Mega Horn, and Air Slash. I believe it gets access to the... Damn, there's a lot on this list. I believe it also gets access to Aura Sphere, but that doesn't matter too much for Keldeo because it uses Secret Sword anyway. Polyard and Bishop lose Knockoff. I don't think that matters because Pokemon Home should be able to let you transfer them with it, because Knockoff is in the game. Inkay and Malamar get some fun moves. Nasty Plot if you're using a non-contrary set, otherwise you're -2ing your special attack. Stored Power is really interesting on Malamar as well. Acupressure, Liquidation for coverage. Some nice little coverage moves. Pangoro gets Close Combat, perfect. Awesome, incredible Fighting Stab. And Darkest Lariat, great Dark Stab if he doesn't want to use Knockoff, which it should. Meowstic gets Nasty Plot, that could be fun on an offensive Meowstic set. Aegislash gets Close Combat. I mean, it makes sense. It's a Sword and Shield Pokemon. About time it gets a nice little strong move. Forget Sacred Sword. Close Combat's going to be fire. That manga about to be banned. That manga going to be banned. Helios gets Weather Ball, and I love that it gets Weather Ball and Solar Beam. I love that it gets Weather Ball, though, because this is something that it can abuse in, like, sun and rain, right? It has Dry Skin, and it has Solar Power. So this is something that Helios can abuse in that. I love it. Barbarical, nothing really interesting too much on Barbarical, maybe Rock Blast. Hawlucha gets Close Combat and Brave Bird, so an offensive Lucha Swords Dance without having to worry about going for high jump kick and missing and losing your HP is really nice. Slurpuff doesn't really get anything too interesting here. Endure could be cool with like Unburdened sets with Sticky Web and Endeavor, I guess. Aromatisse gets Encore. Sylveon gets Mystical Fire, and this goes back to the whole thing of giving Pokemon coverage where there's no hidden powers, right? So Sylveon now has a way of touching Ferrothorn, and I love it. Bergmite gets Auroraville too. That means Avalon gets access to Auroraville, which I don't know if it had before. Pumpkaboo got Mystical Fire and Moonblast. So I know Gorgeist already had Fire Blast and stuff like that. But Mystical Fire, again, really nice on support mons in general. Gorgeist also gets Power Up, so he gets a stronger move over Seed Bomb. Goodra has access to Recovery and Life Dew, which again I think is 25%, but it could be 50%. Who knows? We'll know maybe more by the time this video goes up. And Hydro Pump. So that's cool. It already had Muddy Water, but I guess now it can Hydro Pump if it wants to. Rowlet gets Knockoff via Egg move. Beautiful for Decidueye. Nice little supportive move. Decidueye gets Solar Blade and Hurricane. Hurricane doesn't matter too much. It's not really using that for the most part. It's going to be using its Ghost or its Grass Stab. Incineroar gets Parting Shot and... Wow. They just make this mon better and better in VGC. So it gets Party Shot. So not only does it get off the Intimidate, but it can Party Shot to support the team as well. And Close Combat, which is way better than Super Power. And on average, stronger than Low Kick. So the Low Kick is usually the same base power word you're using it versus, but on average stronger. So I like that. Primarina gets access to Calm Mind and Life Dew. So basically access to a boosting move, and then, which is pretty nasty if you think about Primarina. Before it had Work Up, I believe, as its only potential boosting move. So the ability to build up on your special defense, which is already super strong as it is. Crazy. And Life Dew giving it Recovery. But maybe you might see a Rest Talk Primarina with Calm Mind. Vikavolt gets access to Sticky Web. Perfect. More Sticky Web users, more mons to abuse it. Rabombi gets Switcheroo. Maybe like a spec set that could be pretty cool. Serena doesn't matter, getting Solar Blade. Arachne gets Hydro Pump and Bug Buzz. Maybe if you want to use a special set with its ability, I don't know if Dewpider gets it too. Morlow getting Polybuff doesn't matter. Weather Ball is the only interesting thing I think that we see here for Shiinotic, random Drain Punch. Encore and Guru. Salazzle also gets access to Dragon Dance, which is interesting. I don't think it's going to affect Salazzle too much, because I think Nasty Plot sets are just way better, but that's still pretty cool. And they did end up giving Beware Close Combat. Awesome. And it has Darkest Lariat, so nice little, it doesn't have to use Shadow Claw, for instance, to touch Ghost types. Darkest Lariat is stronger. Toxapex is Hydro Pump, yes. Can't wait to use offensive Merciless Toxapex over the defensive Regenerator one that's going to be destroying everything. I love that Mudsdale gets Body Press. I think it's great. A great alternative. Tyranitar now has access to Rapid Spin. Cool, so it can be more of a support Pokemon if it wants to. And Glaceon getting Close Combat is awesome. It was already a great Pokemon. They just gave it better physical attacks. Jirachi gets Hydro Pump. It is a great special attacker, so why not giving it that way? Though it already has a fantastic move pool anyway. Don't know how much it will fit Hydro Pump. But like Draco, Hyper Voice, Thunderbolt, like Surf, things. I think it's Surf as well. I love that Delmise gets Liquidation though. Delmise was already a great physical attacker, and now you gave it something alternatively to like Earthquake that can hit opposing fire types. They gave Como Aura Sphere. It has a new signature move in Clanger's Slow, and I believe the way that move works is it's like a belly drum that Omni boosts you. It's something like that. It like takes some of your HP and then it gives you stats. So they got rid of obviously its signature Z move because Z moves no longer exist, but they gave this thing, and they got Aura Sphere as well. So that's pretty cool. On special sets, you don't have to use like Focus Blast. Silvally gets access to Psychic Fangs. Good for Silvally Psychic. Good for Swords Dance sets. Let it be able. It doesn't have Earthquake, so let it be able to touch Toxapex. Make something viable. I believe also Necrozma got Dragon Dance too, and Milotic. Milotic got Dragon Dance, and I believe Necrozma got Dragon Dance as well. So that's crazy, because if Necrozma gets Dragon Dance, then that means that Necrozma, Duskmane, and Dawn Wings might also get Dragon Dance. So that's pretty crazy. Solgaleo on Mystical Fire, Close Combat, and Heat Rash. I think that Close Combat is really nice, again, especially in Ubers in general. Marshadow gets Blaze Kick, Aura Sphere, Endure Reversal, doesn't matter too much. And Zero Aura got Electro Ball and Play Rough. Again, that doesn't matter too much in terms of like their already movesets. They're pretty nice. There are definitely more of this, but this is the one that's updated, and I can go through this list for a long time if we wanted. But I love, for the most part, Gyarados getting Power Whip and things like that, and I'm just pretty excited about the... God, hopefully I didn't spoil that one mon for everybody. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize that was on this list. Like, I reread it, but it was like late last night. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know which ones you're most excited for. Like I said, guys, I have a whole bunch of Sword and Shield moves coming. This was like a pretty rushed one, but I showed you everything, but I gave you like my thoughts on the ones that I think would actually matter, even if it was like really brief thoughts. But yeah, feel free to subscribe. I have a whole lot of Sword and Shield stuff coming. MOVESET videos, Wi-Fi battles, guides, Showdown lives. I'll see you guys next time though. Goodbye, my friends.